Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Derek, and today we'll be talking about the brand new Ryan Gosling space movie, cause he had another one, Project Hail Mary. Spoiler warning, let's just get this out of the way first. I like this film a lot. I went to see it twice. I've read the book. I made it a point to read the book right before seeing the film because I was really curious. I mean, this was written by the same guy who wrote The Martian, which also became its own film starring Matt Damon. But anyways, I think Project Hail Mary is one of those films that, at the very least, most people will like. There's something about the film that is so pure in a cinema experience. Like, it's kind of rare to have one of these all-encompassing, non-previous IP film that really grabs the public by its attention. And if you look at this week's box office numbers and this audience score from Rotten Tomatoes, the cinema score, it's been resonating pretty well for a sci-fi flick. And I think that really speaks to its qualities. Sometimes the popular things are good. Who knew? And I really do like this adaptation. Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace. Oh, that's a tongue twister. And I guess their initials also match. So he was kind of destined to play the part, I suppose. I don't think this film would have worked without Ryan Gosling's kind of like whimsical acting, if that makes sense. I mean, he's kind of known for a variety of films, both in a comedic nature like Barbie, or even more serious nature, I guess, The Notebook, if you count The Notebook as serious. But it was like a dramatic-ish film. So, like, he is an actor with a lot of range, for sure. But I don't think this film would have worked without him, because he kind of really does go all in how he portrays Grace, the scientist that is really, really reluctant, and yet he really wants to help the Earth. So it's like trying to play that delicate balance of fear and going towards the scientific pursuit. The hidden MVP of this film is Sandra. Some of y'all might have seen her from Anatomy of a Fall or The Zone of Interest a couple years back. I think this is the one part where the movie does better than the book, because Eva Straught in the book can come off as a little bit one-dimensional, no-nonsense, almost a little bit authoritarian leader of sorts. But I think every time Sandra Hüller comes on screen, she does embody the stoic nature of Eva Straught, yet does it with a kind of hidden warmth. She looks at you dead serious in the eyes. She's entirely serious, but she is also entirely sincere. There are two scenes that added in from Eva's perspective, one being the karaoke scene that is all around the press. That karaoke scene is a scene stealer because the song she chose is so fitting for the film. And there's like an extra scene at the end that's not in the book that kind of like shows them in a more Ice Age Earth, getting the probes that Ryland received and beginning to heal the sun, that kind of thing. It's just kind of like really small, subtle touches that show that Eva Straught, no matter how hard of an exterior she likes to show, she is a person with a purpose. She does things with intention and with sincerity. And I think Sandra Hüller really plays into that really, really well. I didn't expect Lionel Boyce to be here. I mean, you might know him from The Bear. Carl, the security guard, was like a super duper 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 minor thing. And I think it was really fun having him and Ryland go through this early stages of the astrophage experimentation. It was a very nice addition. The best part about this, and credits to the directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller for really ensuring that there is a heart to this movie. By nature, Andy Weir wrote Ryland Grace as a kind of witty, a little bit of millennial humor. He's not meant to be the cool guy, and yet you can see the sincerity that the character has. That is what really made the film so good to me. And of course, massive shout out to James Ortiz for puppeteering and being voice of Rocky. Like, how else are we able to fall in love with a anthropomorphic rock? Rocky has so much personality and really brought what we see in the book to life. But I kind of also want to tackle this in a different perspective, and I think that Project Hail Mary is really representative of us as humanity. Ryan Gosling was kind of right, because in some of the press tour for the movie, he has mentioned that a lot of the films that we have seen in recent years are pretty dystopian in nature.
Something Andy does in his work, I think that's really special. He gives you this opportunity to pivot away from dystopian future narratives that we have been saturated in, that the negative outcome has sort of permeated to the point where it feels inevitable. And he sort of creates this beautiful work that says, wait, hold on. Maybe the future is not something to be feared, rather just figured out.
Hell, I mean, Ryan Gosling was in a dystopian future book, Blade Runner. The Hunger Games series are having a resurgence, but it really does all have this kind of like tone of suppression, authoritarianism, like the bad stuff, that kinds of humanity. So to have a book that is so unabashedly positive, so unabashedly optimistic about humanity's prospects, this book is literally hope core to the max. The title, which is Project Hail Mary, and you're sending a Hail Mary full of grace, that in all layers about the optimism of having all the countries working together, is really, really inspiring. And I think that's a similar theme that was explored in Andy Weir's other book, The Martian, where, like, you know, everyone around the world is trying to save this one guy in Mars. In this day and age, this is something that we kind of need. It still acknowledges a lot of the shortcomings that, you know, people have. And Eva Straut in the film literally mentions that, like, that is assuming that people on Earth will actually cooperate together, and hence why she upped the death estimate when the Earth slowly cools and has to fight for rations and food and all that stuff. So it does acknowledges the realism, but it chooses to take that realism and actually try to work something out. I think having some optimism about the outcome for Earth, it's really needed at a time like this when we have all the stuff going around in the world. Which kind of brings me to how we're responding to it. Boy, the discourse behind this film. Some people need to chill out. It's one thing to not like it. It's another thing to surround this with this kind of meta intellectual discourse about, oh, this is the new F1, oh, this is the new crowd-pleasing film, it has no substance, or this is kind of like Reddit cringe humor, or all that stuff. I'm really intrigued by a film being so outly forward about this optimism message that it just kind of fall onto some deaf ears. It's like, you can criticize about the unrealistic nature of the book. It's sci-fi. You can criticize about the narrative structure, the going back and forth, because you're starting at Ryland Grace in space, but he has amnesia, so he needs some of his memories to kind of work his way out. So like that kind of narrative structure going back and forth may not be for everyone. It's one thing to not like certain elements of it, and it's another thing to directly fight against the optimism just because it's too peppy, it's too whimsical. Yes, this is a film for the general audience. It's supposed to have the widest appeal possible. Is that so bad of a thing to have in this day and age? People are just so quick to kind of critique happy things. This entire Oscar season in the past, we didn't have an Oscar villain, and yet people kept trying to make one just because, I don't know, filling our innate need to fight something. In times like this, we really kind of should be optimistic about things. Work through things together, through problem solving, through friendship, which is a big aspect between Ryland Grace and Rocky. Like, this is a film about friendship, reaching out in the midst of the unknown. You are reaching out with a hand instead of a weapon. And I think that is really radical to have. I would say this is a near perfect film. There are some things I did wish they adapted from the book. There was a whole subplot within the book about why Ryland was the third backup scientist, and that was because there was a specific gene that would make him more likely to survive the coma. This film is already quite long, 2 hours and 36 minutes. I do get why that was cut in favor of streamlining the narrative. The part where Rocky saves Ryland was also modified a little bit. Again, probably because of time constraints in mind. Also, that kind of part where Rylan agonizes about trying to save Rocky versus going home was also kind of reduced a little bit. I think those small things from the book that, while might have not translated best on screen, I think there could be hints of it that would flesh out Rylan's character more, because a point of the movie was that Rylan was kind of a coward, and this was kind of the one time he decided to be brave about something and do something that willingly sacrifices himself. These small little details up the stakes a little bit, up the stakes of why Rylan was doing all this, and without it, I feel like the stakes was lowered a little bit in favor of the comedy, in favor of the kind of like buddy dynamic, which is good. But I don't know, that's just like a small thing that's just always going to happen with like a theatrical adaptation. It's just kind of like that balance thing. And I think I want to also shout this out. This film might help solve the literary crisis that we're going through right now. I've seen a lot of people actually picking up a book, or even the audiobook version of it, to prepare for this. Not that Andy Weir isn't already a popular science fiction novelist himself, but like the fact that people are interested in reading the book and then taking the experience they have from the book and translating that into the screen, as that's something that I did. I think that in itself brings me a little bit of hope of just like, wow, people are interested in good stories. I think it's a little bit inspiring that, you know, people are picking up a book again just because they want to see a guy and an alien space rock kind of buddy out together. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts and observations about this. It sounds a little bit more like a spiel than my usual film reviews, but I think this film has really resonated with me in a way that I didn't anticipate. And I'm really glad that I got to experience it for myself. I'm gonna have to see if I can see an IMAX, because the IMAX iterations of this, wow. I'm gonna give this a 9.5 out of 10. I did give it a 10 on my letterbox, but at least speaking on the film itself, I'm gonna give it a 9.5. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next movie review.